The Shadow Beneath the Floorboards. It started with the scratching. Every night at precisely 3:12 a.m., Anna would wake to the sound, a faint, rhythmic scraping coming from beneath the wooden floor of her bedroom. At first, she thought it was a mouse. Living in an old Victorian house, pests weren't uncommon. She set traps. Nothing. She stuffed steel wool in the cracks. The scratching persisted. One night, determined to put an end to the disturbance, Anna crept out of bed, flashlight in hand. As the scratching began again, she crouched on the floor and pressed her ear to the cold wood. Her breath hitched. It wasn't a mouse. It was a voice, faint, distorted, and whispering something she couldn't quite make out. She yanked her head back, heart pounding, and scrambled into bed. "You're imagining things," she told herself. But deep down, she knew she wasn't. The next day, Anna pried open a section of the floorboards where the sound seemed loudest. She expected to find old pipes or a drafty gap. Instead, she found something far worse, a narrow, spiraling staircase descending into darkness. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth. Anna's flashlight flickered as she descended, her curiosity outweighing her fear. The staircase led to a small, stone room, bare except for a single chair bolted to the center of the floor. Chains dangled from its arms, rusted but still menacing. Scratches marred the walls, erratic and frantic, as if made by desperate hands. And then she saw it. Scrawled across the far wall in a substance she prayed wasn't blood was a single phrase. "Don't let it out." Before she could process the warning, the sound began again. This time, it was deafening. The scratching, the whispering, a guttural growl that reverberated in her chest. She turned to leave, but the staircase was gone. The walls closed in around her, the air growing colder. Shadows twisted and writhed, converging into a figure with hollow eyes and a crooked grin. It spoke, but not with words. The sound slithered into her mind, filling her head with images of fire, decay, and endless screaming. Anna tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The figure reached out, its skeletal hand brushing against her cheek. Her skin burned where it touched, and the room began to spin. When she woke, she was back in her bed, the floorboards perfectly intact. She wanted to believe it was a nightmare, but the red, blistering handprint on her cheek told her otherwise. The scratching never stopped. Weeks passed, and Anna started hearing it during the day, at work, in the car, even over the sound of her friends' voices. Her reflection in the mirror began to change. Her eyes hollowed, her smile twisted into that same crooked grin. One night, she couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed a hammer and smashed through the floor, screaming at whatever was beneath. The whispers turned to laughter, deep, guttural, and triumphant. The last thing Anna saw was a pair of hollow eyes staring back at her before darkness consumed her. The next morning, Anna's neighbors reported strange noises coming from her house, but when the police entered, the bedroom was empty. The only thing they found was a new phrase scratched into the walls beneath the floor. "It's out."